let's try to understand what this game is about, and let's try the new paladin armors out to try to understand them and what they're good for. To the best of my knowledge, the paladin class has a lot of skills that can be abused. It's only known as X one skill that you're going to need with the paladin class is you go to over here, paladin armor. Yeah, mentor of alignment to turn it to full of fat. So that you're going to need to remember, and and now it's a fully offensive armor, so that's taken care of. It will remain that way until I lock back out. That's a very useful skill. Another useful skill, well, when you're a paladin is paladin armaments, summon your personal radiant armory of weapon and shield bound to your light powers. That's very useful. I don't have to keep the weapon. I can change back to plate of bar if I wanted to. Blade of bar is really one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Teleport Dunamis, and let's look at what skills it's got. This is passive. As a hero who proudly bears the title of Paladin, your spiritual power applies a destructive reference to the enema of undead, improving your defenses against your attacks while increasing your damage against them. This isn't that good. Searing radiance. Searing radiance is a good skill. What you can do is you can sort of abuse it. What you want is to leave your foe panicking. This is a good skill when you have paladin armor on. Resonance might. This isn't that good. This is a good skill because it's passive. Doesn't use up any mana or SP. Your vigilance has increased your blocking, and your spiritual resonance further this effect against undead. That's good. Paladin armaments, to my knowledge, is a free skill. Doesn't use up any SP or mana, so this uses up very little SP. With Essence Orb, you can get your SP all back for a little bit of health points. Defiance. Defiance skill isn't that necessary if you are fighting 10 enemies that is level 130 or level 150. You get one charge each for free. But if you wanted to go to Defiance, build Defiance, you get 3 charges of Defiance instead of just one. Each enemy that is level 130 or level 150 that got killed. That's not absolutely necessary, but you get. But if you build up 10 charges of this, 10 charges of Defiance, and it says you have 0 charges, you'd be able to use one of these. And Glorious Renewal is one of the best skills because your character rarely ever dies in the game, so you very rarely ever need it, but it helps you survive being killed and it helps you heal. That is about as good as it gets in the game. That will save your character when going up against undead when it really ever needs to trigger because your character is that good. Another good skill is paladin reinforcements. This automatically happens when you're fighting enemies for free, so you don't need to get build defiance even. But that's optional, but I wouldn't recommend it the way I would use my character. Paladin reinforcements call for help from your allies in the new Paladin order. More allies are unlocked as you level up. This is a good skill. It doesn't have to use drain overload my SP, how much it uses SP wise, it can use my magic points instead. So this is a very cheap skill. Summon manifestation is a cheap skill to use in this game because it uses your magic points, not overwhelms your SP points. So let's summon manifestation, and that's how I would use this character. I go to main menu, and I would tell it to now boost your light damage weapon spell, and that's very cheap because it uses your magic points, not overwhelms USB points that it's using. Thus, this is a very good skill in the game. What else does this game have to offer? Charge lay on hands. What I can do is I can go to combat practice trainer, use charge lay on hands, go back, exit out of the game, and then we log into the game and start fighting the enemies, and then start randomly using the cheap skill, charge lay on hands. I do this, I exit out of the game, I re-log into the game, and we're very cheap, and I exit out, and I'm back just like that. It's not going to cost me any further SP to use charge lay on hands. So I consider this paladin armaments again, blade of awe, good, charge lay on hands. If any time I want to use charge lay on hands, I can use this without needing magic points or SP points. So this is a very good skill to use in the game once I get a few charges on lay on hands, and I can bring my charges into a fight after I go to combat practice trainer and gain 3 charges. Then I have 3 charges to use anytime I want to in the game, and it's for free after I use up half my SP points and re-log in to combat practice trainer and gain my magic points and health, health points back. It's not going to cost me anything further to use charge lay on hands, so this is a very good skill to use. Harmonic might is a really good skill to use because it's a really cheap skill that adds to my 35 strength and dex. for a very cheap price and SP. You have reached a greater harmony with the will of the spirits you have brought peace to. You can concentrate on this bond to follow and empower your mind and body. That's good. This is a very good skill because it doesn't require much of anything because it's passive. All passive abilities uh, roll together as a feat of strength and become one super ability in combat. Unwavering passive, using paladin powers now projects your spirit's resilience to flesh and steel alike. Your armor will automatically use its best elemental resistance to undead attacks or reduce demonic damage. I could explain how unwavering works in the game further. If you weren't using this shield in the game, you would need to use the best shield that protects against darkness, or your best miscellaneous item that protects against darkness, which is the really beautiful thing when going up against undead enemies, because you can use Terror Totem and or Terror miscellaneous item, and then you can use Terror Eater. That's really good. So this is a winner. This is a winner, and most winners in this game is the toggles. Lay on Hands is a winner for the reasons I'm explaining. I use Lay on Hands after gaining some charges built up at Combat Practice Trainer. It's not going to cost me anything further. That did not cost me anything. And so every turn, you can only spend one per turn, but it's still a very good skill to use in the heat of battle, with which is why you'll almost never need to build up charges with Defiance. The next one. Some Deed is not that good a skill. Righteous Swords uh, active. A paladin must always strike true, especially when pushed to the brink. Draw from your deepest resolves and strike with a bonus to hit. This isn't that good a skill. Overwhelming passive is a really good skill because it's a passive, like yet again. I don't have to activate it. I don't need to it does not use magic points or SP points, so that makes it a really good skill. Mantra of Alignment stays and remains the uh, the mantra of alignment you pick out until you log back out of the game and re-log into the game. It's going to remain at 1.25 armor lane, so that's a really good skill to use, even though it's a one-time use. You only need to make it a one-time use, and it's armor lane 1.25 the rest of the game until you log back out. So you need to only use this once, and then and it does not cost any magic points or SP, so that makes it a really good thing to use in the game. Even though you can only use this one time in the game. And a light, a signature light spell for paladins. The power gives you a particular advantage for using it. There's only one inner light I would recommend in the game as a spell. If you are going to choose to use this, and I would like you to use this against boss monsters if I really felt like it. This one is the best bang for the buck or return on investment, which is how you play the game. Focus light, concentrate your magical power to cast the spell efficiently, dealing slightly less damage or significant discount. It probably beats harmonic light and what it does. Cast a spell with standard cost and damage output. What does it say? This does. Yeah, it says it probably does the same thing. Focus on damage over efficiency, over charging your spell. It means to use this spell, you're going to have to use uh, dexterity boosting spells, which would require a lot of Z tokens to purchase. So if I was a casual player, I would steer away from using this one because it's going to miss a lot, even though when it hits, it's going to cost a lot, and it's going to cost 174 hit points and 392 SP. Interesting. Focus Light gonna cost 98 SP. I consider that a good bang for your buck. If you didn't have very much SP and wanted to fight boss monsters, even though if you had more SP, I would recommend something else. This does uses SP very efficiently compared to harmonic light, does slightly less damage, but beats using 392 SP. So I would recommend this because its hits will hit a lot more often than this and use up far less SP than this. So I recommend using focused light over using harmonic light or overwhelming light as a very cheap SP attack against boss monsters. That's good enough to. That is something I would use against boss monsters, or might even feel in the mood for using it if I was running out of SP. And usually there are far better options than using inner light, and I had to use that. Now these two ones are the boss killers. Let's see. This one I recommend you use. It's bio radiance toggle, and it says its cost is free for some reason. I don't know if it really is. It requires using SP. Like what I'm showing you, it uses SP, so it's not really free. Concentrate on protecting your protective powers, reducing your offensive abilities to cover for your allies. Pets and guests will be able to deal greater damage under your inspiring leadership. That's good for beastmaster builds. My build with Dunamis is not a beastmaster build. It's this would work really well if I was a Beastmaster build, and I'm not a Beastmaster mage type of build, so I wouldn't use this myself. This is a passive ability, thus it's a very good ability, because it automatically uh, is in effect against when it going up against an undead monster. The bond with the spirits who lend their power to you has become so clear that your spirit permeates your armor, fortifying its protective enhancement against status effects. This is a really good ability because it's passive and thus doesn't use very much magic points or SP. Redeemer's Might. I don't know if I was playing this game. Your body and armor have become uniquely attuned to channeling the power of the spirits. Bonding that bond, you can barrel through your foes to daze them with the raw strength and toughness. I don't know if I care very much about this ability because this ability is for battle, even though it costs a lot of SP. Righteous Judgment isn't a bad ability to use and charge up before using, but it's optional. I might rather use Sunscale Legacy to get the job done and Panic from here to get, and Panic can be used if I wanted it to be with the Terror Eater, so that makes it really good. So I use Radiant, which costs 98 SP, with the Terror Eater Totem and the Sunscale Legacy, which can burn the enemy. Once upon a time, the paladin order would call on the protection of the great dragon Sunscale. During your efforts to rebuild its legacy, you gain the ability to call on the radiant morning breath of his last descendant. I don't remember if this is a quick action or not, but it deals a lot of damage against enemies. Now I'm going to show you how I would use this in the game. I would use this in the game exactly like this. I have now gained between the chieftain's iron thorn shield, I have 300 strength. With this skill activated, I have 35 plus dexterity and plus 35 strength. So this is the really good part of this armor and the way I would use it. So the two end boss skills is Sunscale Legacy, or if I'm going up against a boss, I would need to save up 5 charges and use Righteous Judgment right then and there to end the boss, and I can save up 5 turns of Righteous Judgment, use it against the boss, and after Righteous Judgment triggers, I no longer, and I get 5 turns of charges of Righteous Judgment saved up. It is free to use Righteous Judgment against the boss, and that can be used close to nothing in this game. These two skills are the most bang for your buck in the game if you have enough SP or charges in this game, and you can build up some charges in this game using combat practice trainer. So when you go up against a boss and have 5 charges of Righteous Judgment built up, you have it really good then. I'm gonna start charging up righteous judgment, and I'm going to demonstrate why it's so good to build up a few charges of righteous judgment and to use that against a boss in this game. I'll then attack him with this is how I would do it. I would only use Chieftain's Iron Thorn if I was using the stun meta against the boss, by the way. So I'm going to choose to build up a few charges of righteous judgment. Once I get 5 charges, it costs nothing further in SP to use righteous judgment, and righteous judgment, once you have 5 charges of righteous judgment in this game, it's not going to cost you much more SP in this game, and you can build this up to use against the boss in the game without needing to use more SP, much more SP in this game against the boss. So against a normal enemy, I would choose to use this type of form and build up charging judgment. I would build this up and use this type of skill, charging judgment against the boss after 5 charges is built up in this game. That's how I would use it. So, main menu, change it to light. And I would only use Chieftain's Iron Thorn in this game when I'm using the stun meta against a boss that has very high hit points. That's the way I would use it anyways. So this is how I would further use this character. Field potence is 20.6. So I'm giving it fuel from my Terror Totem, and I'm giving it fuel from this ability right here called Radiant. So there's a high chance that I'm going to inflict fear on this enemy no matter what type of armaments I'm wearing, which is the really beautiful part of this skill set. Hello.
Number 6. I made an appointment for you to get your car inspected on Saturday. Okay?
Okay.
So that the value of your car will be more if you get it inspected. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So, did you have plans to drive your car between now and this weekend? Because your appointment's actually on Saturday. Because Ben and I can come by and pick it up.
Okay.
I don't know if that'll make it easy or not. Or would you rather wait until later and just do it at a later date?
I could possibly wait until later.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to Ben and see what he wants to do, okay? And we'll just do. But you usually drive to church on Wednesdays, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your car's due to be inspected this month. You have to get it inspected sometime within the next week, okay?
Okay.
So, okay, I made you an appointment on Saturday, so we don't really need the car until Saturday. So, okay?
Okay.
All right. Anything else going on?
Nothing's going on.
Okay. Do you have anybody at your house?
No.
Okay. All righty. All right. I'm just giving you the heads up on that. Plug in your cell phone, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. I will talk to you later, okay?
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That was my mom. Where was I again? This is going to do a lot of damage to his player character once you got a lot built up. I don't remember if this is a free cast or not. Might not be, but I'm also okay with using it. It put on afraid and it put on control and paralyzed. Cannot now cannot move, unable to act, and born. So it sets things up for this skill right here, charging radiance. Well, it didn't do as much. I would have needed to use Chieftain Zion Thorn to amp up the damage even further, but I changed to use this and changed from light attack to fire attack, which I forgot lowered my damage using Sunscale Legacy, but I think you get the point. Let's see. Let's now panicked is at 85.7%. I'm going to show you what it's really good for. Tornado, I summon you. Hey, Dunamis, I need you out of the way so that I can click on, click the handle to eat fail. Please get out. Uh, Panic to reduced ability to act reduces effectiveness to 85.7% until a. You mean the monster is panicked but not afraid? Well, it's the way it works is it almost works as a stun 2 turns in. Silly me, so it's panicked, it's not afraid. I guess it works that way. But let's see, panicked is when panic gets to 100%, it can't hurt. The monster can't attacks me for 0% damage, so it can't attack me, and it's the same thing as stunned. I thought that I could use this with the Terror Visage for a while. Maybe I can't. Since I don't need panicked, obviously, if I'm going to use things like the stun meta. Most of the time, I don't need this unless an indirect type of stun for monsters that are immune to stun. So let's switch it up to radiant to searing. Leaves the foe burning. That's between searing and terry reader. That's the best bang for the buck. So let's attack again. And let's build up my charges using, and see how badly I can get this skill to trigger. So I have 3 charges of that. Let's amplify the Salamagundi and let's see how badly I can hit this monster for with damage. It says it has bone on it. See, when white just cost minus 16 SP, so this is a very cheap skill to use in the battlefield. Sunscale Legacy does light damage instead of fire damage, so it doesn't work as well with this thing and this this thing active. I'm sorry, and though with things like you build up strawberry shield cake and uses the shield imbue for light damage. You can turn that spell from fire to light damage and it could deal quite a bit more damage, and that's the way around it after you build up your U charges with strawberry shield cake. That's how I would use this to do a lot of damage using the Sunscale Legacy, which is only one-time use type of skill in the game. Now I'm going to build up a lot of charge, a lot of imbue, and I'm going to deal a lot of damage to this character. Put it a lot. I'm going to use my skills a certain way with Chieftain's Iron Thorn and see how much damage I can do in this game for with built up charges only going to cost me 16 SP, so that is a very good skill that is SP efficient in the game once you build up 5 charges which can be built up in with the combat practice trainer, so that's a very good skill to use in this game. Pushing power. I'm not even going to bother with things like Shadow Feeder Pendant and Love Potion. I'm just going to try to nuke this boss with which gets my character to 375 strength. So this is a boss kill in this game. I'm now going to use the most powerful skill in this game and pretend that I was going up against a boss, and this is the type of boss kill I would use in this game. Righteous Judgment, which is a light attack. You are ready to enlist Righteous Judgment. This attack will deal greater damage to enemies affected by each of your powers and seek the weaknesses of your specialized enemies. Cost 17 SP to use, and you've got 5 charges built up, which is very SP efficient type of skill. Once you have 5 charges built up that you can build up, like with Strawberry Shield Cake in the game, uh, to use it against a boss and go all out with Strawberry Shield Cake. Then you use Chieftain's Iron Thorn. Then you use Terror Visage item, and then you use something like, if it has Afraid, you can also use Terror Visage against this enemy, which it doesn't have very much Afraid. Zero rounds. Afraid sometimes walks. Now we're going to try out Righteous Judgment to see what happens. It's going to play off of Born, and it's going to play off of, I guess, Panic to do more damage against the boss. So Panic is a good thing to use to build up on before using Righteous Judgment, which is cheap once you have a Righteous Judgment against the boss. Let's try it out. See, it does a lot of damage against the boss. It's almost as powerful as being a light version of a Bloodsorker armor when you put the white builds together and the white skills. It can nuke a boss when set up the right way. It's as almost as powerful as the Bloodsorker armors, the Blood Mage armors, or the werepyre armors. So this is going to be one of my favorite armors to use in the future, and it deals quite a bit more damage against an undead foe than what you just witnessed. We can explore this even further to explain what it does. This is passive. This deals more magic damage and spell boost to the monster. That's good. Paladin armor is a free skill that doesn't cost any magic points or SP points. That's 2 good skills. Resonant Surge, I don't care to use. Searing Radiance, Searing Radiance is a good skill to use because it builds up your other skills in the game for the right amount of SP in the game. Like what I showed you, Panic and Born can deal a lot of damage with when you use this skill, Righteous Judgment. Born, Blind, and Daze, and Panic. You have 5 charges. You can use this skill to attack the monster, dealing more damage. If they currently have any of these statuses, Born, Blind, Daze, and Panic, you can get Panic and Born passively for the right amount of SP. This type of armor might be good in some ways to use with almost like the Bonebreaker armors, which players haven't used that often. It uses very little SP once built up, which is why it is a very good skill that when it's built up, it does a lot more damage than what you saw against an undead monster because of all the passives that are on this character. that are automatic. So this is a very good skill. Laying on hands was demonstrated as a very good skill uh, once you get built up outside of as an emergency type of skill. Sunscale Legacy and Righteous Judgments are some of my favorite boss killers in this game. Uh, I'm not sure if Sunscale's Legacy is the best bang for your buck against the boss because it costs way too much SP, like what I showed you. But it might be a really good skill if you convert Sunscale Legacy to using uh, light damage through uh, strawberry shield cake and imbuing uh, this with light damage instead of fire damage through strawberry shield cake. It can do a lot of light damage then, so it's a maybe skill to use against the boss, and it's a fun skill that puts bone on your boss, which this skill right here will very efficiently compared to Sunscale Legacy put bone on your boss. Bone in. So if I was going to choose one skill, I would choose to put bone on the boss, and I could put panic on the boss using werepyre. So putting werepyre skill isn't absolutely necessary, and putting panic on the boss can be. You could put panic on the boss for free using a werepyre armor, and then using uh, 5 charges built up out of the game, and then use Righteous Judgment using werepyre. So you build up werepyre a lot, then use Righteous Judgment, and go up against an undead. It's going to do a lot of damage. Uh, Almost as much damage possibly as Terror Eater even. So Born plus Panic, which you can get one turn each turn using werepyre for free as a free skill, free action turn in this game before building up and using Righteous Judgment. You'd use the stun meta. It's going to be really good. Born and Panic are both Born and Panic. I have werepyre for Panic. So it doesn't have to cost me much SP when I'm using werepyre because of the stun meta. And I use Purple Wayne and I can get my first turn of Panic from werepyre back for free, so that can be done for very cheap. Manifestation is really good, like what I showed you. Harmonic Might is really good because it gives you plus 30 strength and intelligence for the right amount of SP cost for very little SP. Lay on Hands, when built up, is in this game is free. Doesn't do that much healing, but it's a free turn healing, which is what I really like, even though it costs you a lot of SP outside of the combat, but with combat practice trainer, it's going, you build up some SP for charges of laying on hands. You can use laying on hands 3 turns for free, so that can help save your game without needing to spend a turn using a healing skill or using uh, a magic, let's say, healing skill or SP skill that heals your character, or, or even a health potion. So that's what makes it really good. Even though it doesn't heal that much SP, it can save you from needing to use a turn in this game. Unwavering deal damage as if they were attacking or almost light resistance. Does this, which is a passive, does the same for demons, though slightly weaker. See formula below. This is a passive, by the way. Undead resilience equals armor resistance, armor light, armor resilience, and you get this triggers like this for against undead. Does this much for demons, slightly less. It says armor light, armor resistance. Example, using 150 holy armor, we have 39% light and 51% fire. If we battle against the demon, the monster will deal damage as if it attacks on 51 plus 0.6667 times 39 minus 51 equals 43% unless it deals light damage. For best protection, you should use a shield that protects against the attack element, not against light. The only exception for this is the paladin armaments shield resonant bulwark. It has the same effect as armor, so it can be used against any undead demon. So this is if it was going up against a demon. This is if it was going up against an undead. So it's tricky that way. It would treat it like it was attacking your light element instead of your darkness element. Convert the undead attack to you doing light damage, something like that in the game. Which is, this is how undead unwavering passive works, so it's a bit tricky to use this the best you can. In the game, it's not recommended you use Chieftain's Iron Thorn unless you are going to use the stun meta and kill it the first turn. So that's a bit tricky to explain exactly how unwavering passive works. Defiance is active and passive. Is passive, you receive 1 charge per turn. You can spend SP to gain 3 charges per turn instead of 1. The best bang for your buck is to use, go up against enemies that only give you 1 charge per turn, and if you die, you can come back and use one of these effects that you can set up your character to use. This is a mostly free effect, which makes it really good because it doesn't need to require even more SP, because it's both active and passive, but if you spend defiance charges a little SP, you can get even more charges per turn instead. But it says you can only gain charges against monsters that are your power level minus 20% or higher. So you now know how Defiance uh, active and passive works, like what I explained. So that's really good. Or passive. It works as a save against undead status effects, inflections against your character. So this is really good. It doesn't work exactly the same way as werepyre does, but it really uh, helps a lot against undead and undead status effects. Not as well against demons, of course. Mantra alignment is really good because that's free the rest of the game, but it works once per turn. Righteous Sword is garbage against monsters. Inner Light is uh, good enough against monsters because it's really cheap. I would recommend using Inner Light against the monsters instead of uh, Sunscale Legacy. Uh, this does a lot of interesting effects. Seeks between light, fire, harm, and void. It's really fun to use against undead. Like what it says, a bit tricky too. It deals, if it's a spell that deals outcome 2 damage, so it works even better using 2 poellas. This is really tricky to use because you're going to need 2 poellas, then a lot of setting up. Not the most mana SP efficient spell. It does a lot. Use a lot of SP, but it does a lot of. It's real tricky to use. Element 6 between light, fire, and harm and void. Light, fire, and harm. Against anything else, the power of the bonus. It's between light and fire. Against undead, it would probably do light damage. This skill, it's not very SP efficient, so if I had to pick and choose between Sunscale Legacy and Inner Light, I would rather use Inner Light's Focus Light than Sunscale Legacy. Righteous Judgment is a really good bang for the buck once you've got enough charges built up outside of the battle and the game, like what I'm explaining. So it can do a lot of damage if set up the right way against bosses, because look how many passives there is against this game. I wouldn't recommend using Inspiring Radiance unless you're a Beastmaster, of course. One one passive. Uh, this almost a passive, 2 passive, 3 passive, 4 passive, 5 passive, and this 5 passive. 6 passive, 7 passive in this game, just using this one character without needing to set anything else up. So this is probably an undead boss killer armor in this game. Passives build on passives, build on passives, until we have about 9 passives against one undead enemy. Then it deals a lot of damage against an undead enemy without a lot of setup. So I really like this armor for that reason and think it's really cool the way it can be set up. I'm going to end this video, and I might want to know what you think in this game. Bye. So I think this armor is a really good armor to get and to use. A very cheap armor to use, so I highly recommend it. Bye.